three-time American League All-Star, 18 seasons on the mound in Major League Baseball, Dan Plesac. How are you, Dan?
Rich, great. Hey, it's nice to be on. I'm a big fan of yours and a big fan of the show.
Appreciate that, Dan. That means a lot. Right back at you. All right,
Thank you.
You have the floor. Was that an intended pitch last night? Would you have ejected? I know there's two separate questions, but I'm going to give them to you right off the bat. Would you have ejected Gausman last night?
No,
Dan?
Rich, it was, first of all, it was a 77-mile-an-hour curveball. I believe Sam Holbrook was the home plate umpire last night. I get it that tensions are at a heightened alert between these two teams, and I know that Commissioner Manfred had spoken to both the teams and Joe Torre, and they had spoken to the managers and the general managers. Listen, I mean, that's where you have to have some common sense. It was a curveball, and listen, there isn't a pitcher alive that is going to hit a batter intentionally with a curveball, a changeup, a slider, or a knuckleball. If you're going to do that, you're going to do it with a fastball. And it was poor judgment on Sam Holbrook's case last night, pure and simple.
Now, but that said, though, I mean, in Fenway Park, based on under the circumstances of the previous days, I know you use that as a caveat, saying that you understand what would happen. How can he just, after that happened, how could he not just walk out and do what he did? What should he have done otherwise?
Well,
warnings?
Listen, I don't think the pitch was intended to hit him. It was a curveball that backed up. And listen, I pitched for 18 years.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, a slider, it's going to get away from you. And this is the problem that I have with everything, Rich. You go back to the slide, the Manny Machado slide into Dustin Pedroia. Was it a bad slide? Probably. Was it a dirty slide? No. And I think there's a difference between the two. It fundamentally was one of those slides that he probably slid a little bit too late. But I don't know a guy, in my experience covering, watching, playing baseball, where a guy's going to go in and slide hard to take a guy out. He's certainly not going to help the guy up. He felt bad as soon as he slid. He tried to grab Dustin Pedroia and to pull him up and basically hugged him like, hey, I'm sorry, man. You know, it was a late slide. I didn't mean it to be malicious. This is the problem I have, Rich. 2 days later, Rodriguez, the lefty, 3 pitches, they missed him. The bottom line is this. If you want to, go inside the code, Rich, of what goes on in the clubhouse, you don't just keep throwing at a guy till you hit him. You messed up because you missed him 3 times, and then a reliever comes in later and throws one up near his head. It's game over. So this is the problem I have. First of all, if you're the Red Sox, they handled it awfully. You get one chance to hit the guy. You don't just keep throwing at him until you hit him. You get a chance, and Machado, even he had that profanity-laced tirade where he knows what's going on, Rich. He knows he's going to get hit, and he basically said, okay, hit me. But you just can't keep throwing at him until you hit him. Now, this is the issue I have. Dustin Pedroia came out after the game that night and said, hey, and we all saw it on the highlights, hey, that wasn't on me. So it's from somebody. And I don't know if it's John Farrell. I don't know if it's another position player that's saying, hey, you know, we're sick of this happening to us. And so somehow, some way, if it's not coming from Pedroia, it's not coming from John Farrell, it's coming from somebody that as a pitcher, and this is the weird dynamic, Rich. When you're one of those 12 pitchers and you come in after a game and a position player's yelling, this can't keep happening, somebody's got to do something, you feel like you have to do something to protect your guys. So somebody in that clubhouse, either the manager, a player, maybe not Pedroia, or somebody thinks something needs to be done, but it has to stop because they've handled it poorly. Dan
Plesac of the MLB Network joining me here. So I'm trying to follow this here. The expletive-laced tirade that Machado delivered wasn't after the first time he was thrown at almost at his head. It was
Correct.
The second time after Sale threw one behind him.
Yes.
So which is in your mind the worst appropriation of the unwritten rule, okay?
The one up by the head.
Well, no, hold on a second. I'm not there yet. The Barnes throwing after you said Rodriguez missed, or
Correct.
the fact that the Orioles continued it the next week after one would think that once Machado almost got beamed in the head, we're now even, unless the Orioles thought that the Machado slide wasn't bad to begin with and it was wrong to throw at Machado and we're going to hit bets. I mean, which is... Because
Rich,
they continued
I watched
it.
the game, and I don't think the pitch from Dylan Bundy was at all intended to hit Mookie Betts. The book on Mookie Betts is you want to crowd him. He likes to get his arms extended out over the plate, and he dives a little bit. He kind of goes out there, and he likes to hook balls to take an outside pitch to pull it over that green monster at Fenway. I really don't think that pitch that hit Mookie Betts was an intentional pitch from Dylan Bundy to get them back for what they did to Machado. I would be willing to like make you the largest amount of wager that I could possibly make that wasn't the case. Now, the Red Sox may not have saw that like that, and maybe Chris Sale or the Red Sox thinking was this: whether you threw at Betts on accident, we don't care. You hit him, so you hit our number 3 hitter, so we're going to go back and we're going to hit your number 3 hitter back in return, and that happened to be Manny Machado. That would be my only guess to why Chris Sale threw that ball down and tried to hit him.
Especially since Sale can hit the head of a pin sitting out there on a golf tee right on the black of the plate. So everybody knows that. So here's the thing, too, Dan. Now. Because if I'm just a casual fan, all right, and I see Betts is hit in the hip and Bogarts is hit in the hip, but one is a fastball and one is an off-speed pitch. Thus, with the off-speed pitch, we should know that that's not intentional. And the fastball is not intentional because you as an expert knows he dives across the plate. But for me as a casual fan, I'm thinking the Orioles are throwing at the Red Sox, and Chris Sale throws one behind Manny Machado. What the hell am I putting money down for? To see this stuff? All honesty.
And really, if you want to go back to that Chris Sale start, with tensions as high as they were that night, Rich, I mean, he went for the first 7-8 pitches of the game, and you touched on it. He could throw a ball within a 1-inch square right now. He is so locked in.
He's awesome.
He is, right. He's the best pitcher in baseball. Right now, he's better than Clayton Kershaw. Right now. Now, that may not last all year, but he is the best pitcher right now. And it really, if you want to get into it, if the umpires really wanted to make a case, they should have thrown Sale out as soon as he threw that ball at Manny Machado, right?
Yeah.
You should have thrown him out. Now you put the Red Sox behind the 8 ball, right? Whether it was intentional or not, a guy just threw 8 pitches, and he was basically toying with the first 2 hitters, and all of a sudden, mysteriously, he throws 196 behind Manny Machado. Now, if that isn't intentional, I don't know what is. So he gets to stay in the game, and then last night Kevin Gausman throws a first pitch curveball, and he gets tossed from the game, and it turns into a bullpen game for the Orioles. It really was disadvantage to the Orioles last night.
Sure. So what do we do here? I mean, what is the issue then? The fact that that there's no real in-game penalty because somebody just takes first base. We had a caller say, let's have him take second base. One of my colleagues here on the show says, let's have a player removed from the field for the rest of the inning, sort of like a penalty box in hockey. Or I'm saying it should be multiple week suspension if it is ruled to be an intentful pitch. Or how about this? We remove the whole thing that we got to warn everybody because Sale didn't get ejected because he wasn't warned yet.
Correct.
So
absolutely.
What do you do, Dan?
And you know what? And it's a little bit more, you see this a little bit more frequently in the American League because now I'm not saying I don't know, I can't look in and be inside Chris Sale's body, but I think if you're a National League pitcher, you're going to think twice before you're going to go out there and start throwing at people because your butt's going to have to go stand in that batter's box an inning or 2 later. And you see it, and I really think, Rich, I played in both leagues, and in the American League, you almost have a free pass to go ahead and throw at somebody because, first of all, unless there are warnings out, you're pretty much going to get away with it. And I think the more seniority you have as a pitcher, the more you're allowed a little bit more borders. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
sure.
I played with Roger Clemens and Randy Johnson and Kurt Schilling, and if Roger Clemens dusted somebody up and in, and he would do it a lot, you know, there's a lot of times, you know, the umpire will come out and teams will be screaming, you know, it should warn them, and that was intentional, and they tend to get away with that a little bit more. I just thought this whole Red Sox thing, it was handled poorly by the Red Sox. If they were going to hit Machado, you hit him, and you don't get 3, you don't get 4 chances to hit him. You get 1 chance, and if you miss them, you missed them, and it's end of story. They kept this going longer than it should have been.
So it's the Red Sox that have done it, not the Orioles.
I believe so. If you were to ask me, the guilty party, I thought after Rodriguez took 3 shots and couldn't hit Manny Machado, it's game over. Forget about it. You missed your chance to hit him.
So let's just review with Dan Plesac of the MLB Network. The initial slide that started this whole thing you don't think was dirty, right?
I don't.
Okay. The retaliation on Manny Machado was dirty because the pitcher who had his first cracks at hitting him first took 3 shots at it, couldn't do it, and the reliever did it.
Correct.
Okay.
100%.
The Mookie Betts hit that happened the following week to continue this whole thing really wasn't intentional from the Orioles.
I don't think it was.
The sale pitch was absolutely intentional on part of the Red Sox. Okay. And last night's pitch from Gausman was unintentional.
100%.
Thank you, Dan Plesac.
It's crazy.
Can we get Tom Brady factored into this somehow?
We're confusing ourselves, and we're supposed to be the experts at this, right?
So what happens today? What happens tonight, Dan? Your prediction?
I don't think anything's going to happen tonight.
They should pitch underhanded. Pitch underhanded.
Yeah, you know what? They're going to get a pitcher screen, and they're going to I don't anticipate anything happening tonight. I really don't. And I thought the reaction from Sam Holbrook may have been, he was on heightened alert. He saw the pitch, and maybe, just being in the moment, he didn't really until he ejected him. And I would be willing to bet you that 30 seconds after or a minute after or the next inning, he probably was like, I can't believe I just threw this guy out of a game and he threw a curveball, right?
Maybe so, Dan, but this is not in a vacuum here of the whole concept of unwritten rules say that curveball means not intent. You just pointed out the commissioner called both managers.
Right.
Joe Torre, who's the chief of police, essentially, of Major League Baseball, called both organizations. All of these things is all over MLB Network, all over ESPN, all over my Twitter feed and my app notifications. I'm getting all that stuff, and he's supposed to sit there and point and warn everybody to maybe have tonight be a retaliation night before everyone's warned? Is really what he's going to do?
No, but I think Sam Holbrook has to have a lot more common sense. I can tell you this, Rich. If you ordered me and you were the manager of the Milwaukee Brewers in 1986, and you ordered me hey, we have to protect Robin Yount, the first guy that comes up, you've got to hit him. And if I hit him with a curveball, I couldn't even walk into that clubhouse and show my face.
Huh.
I'm telling you, if you are ordered to throw a ball at somebody, you don't throw a curveball, you don't throw a slider, you don't throw a changeup, and you don't throw a knuckleball. You throw it as hard. If you throw 94, you throw it 94. There's no curveballs, changeups, knuckleballs, or sliders. And if you hit somebody that you're supposed to hit with one of those pitches, everybody inside that clubhouse will be like, really? You hit him with a curveball? I'm Rich. I am so 100,000% sure that Kevin Gausman, if he was going to hit somebody, there is no way in hell he's hitting him with a curveball. That I can guarantee you.
All right, Dan. So
100%.
Which manager would I be in '86? Bamberger
Yes, you're
or
right.
George? Am I George
right.
Bamberger or Treblehorn? Which one? Which one am I?
George Bamberger.
Okay, very good.
You were right on the money.
Thanks, Dan.
Wow, fantastic.
You got it. Thanks. You take care, Dan.
You got it, Rich. Thanks. Anytime.
Love it. Dan Plesac at Plesac19.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.
If you like that, please download our app. There's lots of fun things there other than just more of the videos you just saw. You can call us from the app. You can email us from the app. Just download it. Trust me, you'll enjoy it.